Hello and welcome back to the Traviator. In previous episode, we actually took you through the history of private aviation and how it moved from war room to the boardroom. We also looked at the benefits of flying private and took you through all of that. And today, we also want to look at those things you need to be aware of when flying private. Flying on private jets could be a dream to a lot of people, no doubt. But let's be real, it's not always smooth sailing. Today, I want to share those things that most people don't talk about. Whether you're a first-time flyer or a veteran in the private jet space, these are things you need to know. My name is Tayo Orishadare, and this is the Private Jet series. One of those things that you actually need to put into consideration is the aspect of cost. Every good thing, they say, costs money. So when you're flying private, it is obvious that there are some payment stamps to it. You know, from the very light jet that can start from anywhere from $3,000 to $5,500 per hour. And that is just for one leg. If you do not know, most of the time when you charter an aircraft, you not only pay for the leg that is taking you to your destination, you also pay for the operator to return the aircraft to where it came from. Who else is supposed to pay for that extra leg? The operator? He must be joking. But beyond this, there are some other ancillary costs to it. If peradventure you choose to say, you know what, instead of going back today, wait for me. I need to just finish with my meeting, then you take me back later in the day or even the next day. Even this tiny decision has its own cost implication. Think about it. The aircraft will be parked on an apron that does not belong to the owner of the aircraft. Neither does it belong to the operator. So that apron must be paid for. The pilots will be conveyed from the airport to a hotel where they're going to be staying for the night. The transport must be paid for. The pilot will sleep in an hotel or in a hotel till the next day. That hotel will be paid for. When you'll be departing back to your destination, you probably have ordered your preferred kind of crab meats and maybe sushi. The catering must be paid for. Fuel, another huge expense. All of that come at a cost, and all of these costs will pass to the charterer of that aircraft. Sometimes you might choose to lease or buy your own. If you multiply all of these costs by maintenance, crew, hangar fees, insurance, and repositioning flights, it adds up very, very quickly. And if you're not flying frequently or strategically, that jet, that's a luxury, might also become a liability. And that is why you need the efforts of professionals like us who can help you to decide on how best to make use of your assets so that you can gain the advantages of owning an aircraft beyond just the benefits of time, amongst other things. As against what a lot of people might think, that if I can get it, if I can afford it, I can get it whenever I want it. There's also the availability issues. Most of the time when you want to fly, you might think that I just need to just pick up a phone and the aircraft will be ready. In 25% or maybe 10% of the time, you might just be lucky. But most of the time, even flying private requires some planning. And part of this is just forward planning. Unlike airlines where you have scheduled fleets, scheduled timeline, private jets aren't always immediately available, especially during peak seasons. And sometimes factors like weather, crew hours, Aircraft positionings and lead times to delays or even cancellations can actually come to affect your trip if you do not plan on time. Even when the aircraft is available, saying that you want to depart within the hour might be very difficult because the crew that will fly your aircraft may not actually be at the airport when you want to do that. So before they finish their commute to the airport, get the aircraft ready, get fueling ready, book catering and some other things. 2 hours may even not be enough lead time for you to depart on time. So whereas flexibility is a plus in private aviation, but that same flexibility can work against you if not properly planned. Limited in-flight services. So private aviation is particularly particular when it comes to in-flight services because it's a very high-end product. There's a lot of careful planning and meticulousness that go into the planning, especially when it comes to the catering offer. So if, for example, you require Macallan 300 years for your flight, sourcing this exclusive taste drink can be such a challenge sometimes in some locations. So before you get this to be on board, it might take the whole of 24 hours, maybe 48 hours sometimes. Or for those people who maybe live in Kenya, where a lot of people consume a lot of meat, and you say you want vegetarian meal, you know that it might take a bit of expertise to get that on board. So don't expect a flying hotel every time. If you need something, you'd have to also make sure you communicate it early enough. Heck, there are even smaller airplanes that do not have the luxury of a galley where they could have catering on board. So, with very limited cabin space, you might not have the luxury of having a warm meal, for example, if you do not plan for that beforehand. Some of those type of cabins don't even have cabin attendants. So, you should know that in making your choices, sometimes you are limited by the things you want on board, and which might also help to determine what type of aircraft you might want to have. Luxury, yes, but not every jet is built the same. So when you are booking, know what you are booking. Regulatory and safety risk. The aviation space is a very tightly regulated one, especially in the commercial airlines in some regions. That means some operators will do everything possible regulatory-wise to make sure they are safe. But private aviation sometimes can have some sort of lag in terms of regulatory oversight. So you actually want to be sure of which carrier or which company is handling your private jet operations, so that because you're just a consumer and they are professionals, they can make the best of choices for you, choosing that operator that really sticks to rules, regulatory-wise and safety-wise. So always make sure that you need to fly with trusted operators and certified crews. Don't get seduced with the cheapest option, because cheap sometimes might not be maybe the right or the best option that you can have available. Safety always comes first. If a deal feels too good to be true, it probably is. Follow your instinct. Environmental concerns. In today's world where environmental safety concerns are at the highest level of sensitivity, it is believed that corporate aviation footprint is very high in terms of carbon offset. One flight can produce more emissions than some people generate in a year. As awareness grows, private flyers must also think about sustainability. Some now offset their carbon or choose more efficient aircraft. So it's not just about the image, it's also about responsible flying. So, as a responsible citizen, wouldn't you rather choose that operator that is very, very intentional about their carbon offset and how best to know, then to fly through the support or by the support of professionals who knows this business inside out? Flying private is a powerful tool, but like luxury, it comes with its own downside and challenges. When you understand this downside, it helps you to make the best of decisions, whether you are chartering, leasing, or buying. In the next episode, I'll answer most of your questions that you might have. So, be kind to drop them below and let's keep this conversation going. Until this time, please subscribe, like, share, and comment in order to help us promote this content. Thank you for watching. My name is Tayo Orishadare, and this is The Traviator.
Thanks for joining us on The Traviator. Please stay up to date with us by visiting thetraviator.com. You may also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and all podcast outlets. Until next time, keep learning the world, and we'll see you on the next episode of The Traviator Podcast.